Silk Park stared at the holographic display, his fingers moving swiftly across the quantum interface. The research center hummed with quiet intensity, a stark contrast to the groundbreaking discovery unfolding before him. Outside the window, Earth looked peaceful, unaware that everything was about to change. The Galactic Council meeting was scheduled in 3 days, and humanity's reputation couldn't be more fragile. For centuries, advanced alien civilizations had viewed humans as the weakest species, technologically primitive, biologically vulnerable, and seemingly inconsequential in the grand cosmic hierarchy. Yuna Kim walked into the lab, her tablet displaying complex data streams. "Siok," she said quietly, "I think we found something unusual in the quantum communication patterns." Siok's eyes narrowed. The data was unlike anything they had seen before. Most researchers would have dismissed the tiny anomalies as statistical noise, but something felt different. Humans had always been excellent at seeing patterns where others saw chaos. The research center was located in a remote mountain facility, deliberately positioned away from major cities. International cooperation had transformed this place into a hub of scientific innovation. Governments and private organizations had pooled resources, sensing that humanity needed to prove its worth on the galactic stage. Each scan revealed more intricate details. The quantum communication signals contained subtle variations that no alien civilization had ever detected. Most advanced species relied on complex mathematical models and sophisticated technology. Humans, by contrast, brought something unique: intuition, creativity, and an ability to think beyond established scientific frameworks. Yuna started running complex simulations. Her fingers danced across multiple holographic interfaces, connecting dots that seemed unrelated to traditional scientific understanding. She had a gift for seeing connections where others saw only disconnected information. "Look at this," she said, pulling up a 3-dimensional representation of the quantum signals. The pattern seemed to pulse with an almost living quality, revealing hidden layers of communication that defied conventional understanding. Siok leaned closer. The signals weren't random. They were a form of communication, subtle and intricate. Most alien research teams would have overlooked these minute variations, but human curiosity was relentless. Their research had begun almost accidentally. A minor project investigating interstellar communication had unexpectedly revealed these complex patterns. What started as a small investigation was rapidly becoming something revolutionary. The global scientific community was skeptical. Years of being considered the youngest and least developed species had made most researchers cautious. But Siok and Yuna knew they were onto something significant. Their approach was uniquely human, combining emotional intelligence with rigorous scientific methodology. Where alien civilizations relied purely on mathematical precision, humans brought intuition, imagination, and an ability to think unconventionally. Outside, the mountain landscape remained unchanged. Pine trees swayed gently in the wind, unaware of the potential breakthrough happening inside the research facility. Clouds drifted lazily across the sky, a reminder of how small their discoveries were in the grand cosmic perspective. Siok took a deep breath. The Galactic Council meeting would be challenging. Presenting their findings would mean confronting centuries of established scientific understanding. Most alien delegates would be dismissive, seeing humans as nothing more than a curiosity. But something in the data suggested they were about to change everything. Yuna looked up, a spark of excitement in her eyes. "We need to prepare a comprehensive presentation," she said, "and we need to be prepared for complete rejection." Siok nodded. Humans had always been good at turning rejection into opportunity. Their history was filled with moments where seemingly impossible challenges had been overcome through creativity, determination, and an unwavering belief in their potential. The quantum signals continued to pulse, waiting to reveal their secrets. In this moment, humanity stood on the edge of a discovery that could reshape their understanding of communication, technology, and their place in the universe. No one knew it yet, but everything was about to change. The Galactic Military Command conference room fell silent when Siok and Yuna presented their findings. Holographic displays flickered with complex quantum signal patterns, revealing something no civilization had ever seen before. Alien delegates exchanged skeptical glances. Humans were known for their enthusiasm, but not for their scientific breakthroughs. The Zeta Council representative, a tall crystalline being, looked particularly unimpressed. These signals suggest a communication method that exists between quantum states, Seek explained. His voice was calm, but his hands were slightly trembling. Years of research had led to this moment. Yuna activated the secondary display. Quantum patterns danced across the screen, showing intricate connections that seemed almost alive. Most alien scientists would have dismissed these as random fluctuations, but humans saw potential where others saw noise. The military strategists listened with growing curiosity. The ongoing conflict with the quantum civilization had already destroyed 3 planetary systems. Traditional warfare methods had failed repeatedly. Alien technology, despite being centuries ahead of human capabilities, seemed powerless against this mysterious threat. Suck's algorithm proposed something radical. Instead of fighting the quantum civilization directly, they could communicate with it using a completely different approach. Where alien strategies focused on destruction, the human method suggested understanding and adaptation. "We're not proposing to destroy," Yuna said. "We're proposing to communicate." The room buzzed with quiet tension. Communication with a quantum civilization was considered impossible by every known scientific standard. Alien delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The Zeta Council representative finally spoke. "Explain your method in simple terms." Siok took a deep breath. "Imagine communication not as sending messages, but as creating resonance. Our algorithm can generate quantum frequencies that might establish a connection instead of a conflict." Hours of debate followed. Some delegates laughed. Others looked intrigued. The human approach was so different from established interstellar conflict resolution that it seemed either brilliantly innovative or completely absurd. Outside the conference hall, the universe continued its silent dance. Distant stars twinkled, unaware of the potential breakthrough happening in the small room. The quantum civilization had already destroyed multiple planetary systems. Millions had died. Traditional weapons had no effect. Alien shield technologies crumbled against quantum-level attacks. Entire civilizations were on the brink of extinction. Yuna's research suggested that the quantum civilization wasn't intentionally destructive. Instead, it might be trying to communicate in a way no one understood. Human intuition proposed something radical. What if this wasn't a war, but a misunderstanding? The military strategists were divided. Some wanted immediate aggressive action. Others saw potential in the human approach. Siok showed additional research. Their algorithm could potentially translate quantum fluctuations into meaningful communication patterns. It was like learning an entirely new language, a language that existed between reality and possibility. "We're not just proposing a strategy," Siok explained. "We're proposing a completely new way of understanding communication." The Zeta Council representative studied the data. Crystalline features remained unreadable, but something shifted in their posture. Curiosity replaced initial dismissiveness. Hours turned into days. Debates continued. The human team worked continuously, refining their approach. They didn't just want to prove a theory. They wanted to save civilizations. Yuna's computer model showed promising results. Each simulation suggested their method had a small but significant chance of success. Where alien calculations showed zero probability, human creativity saw potential. The quantum signals continued their mysterious dance, waiting, pulsing, existing in states between communication and pure energy. Humanity stood at the edge of a discovery that could change everything. Not through superior technology, but through a unique ability to see connections others missed. No one knew it yet, but they were about to rewrite the rules of interstellar communication. The universe held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The first quantum communication attempt happened on a quiet Tuesday. Most scientists expected nothing. Some even hoped for a simple proof of concept that could justify further research funding. Suck's hands moved carefully across the quantum interface. Yuna watched every digital signal, her eyes tracking microscopic changes in the communication matrix. The research center felt electric with anticipation. Alien observation teams from multiple civilizations watched through secured communication channels. Their sensors were calibrated to detect even the smallest quantum fluctuation. Most believed this human experiment would fail within minutes. The quantum signals responded unexpectedly. Where previous attempts produced nothing, suddenly complex patterns emerge. It wasn't just a simple response, it was a sophisticated interaction. The quantum civilization didn't attack. Instead, it seemed curious. Siok realized something profound was happening. Humans weren't just communicating. They were establishing first contact through pure quantum resonance. Their algorithm translated energy patterns into meaningful exchanges. Military commanders watched in stunned silence. The quantum civilization that had destroyed entire planetary systems was now engaging in what seemed like a peaceful dialogue. No weapons fired, no systems destroyed. Yuna's computer model started generating translation matrices. Each quantum pulse contained layers of information that traditional communication methods had completely missed. It was like discovering an entire language existing between mathematical states. The alien observation teams began reporting extraordinary findings. Human researchers had done what centuries of advanced civilizations couldn't achieve. They were communicating with a seemingly incomprehensible civilization. Siak understood something fundamental. Communication wasn't about technological superiority. It was about understanding, patience, and the ability to perceive beyond established scientific boundaries. Hours turned into days. The quantum interaction continued. Each moment revealed more complexity. The mysterious civilization showed signs of intelligence far beyond simple destructive patterns. They weren't attacking. They were trying to understand. Military strategists watched their screens in disbelief. Weapons systems remained powered down. Communication channels remained open. The quantum civilization showed no aggressive intentions. Alien delegates who had previously mocked the human approach now watched with growing respect. Siak and Yuna weren't just researchers anymore. They were becoming diplomatic pioneers. The interaction revealed something extraordinary. The quantum civilization hadn't been attacking other species. They had been attempting communication using methods no one could previously understand. Their energy patterns were complex communication attempts that previous civilizations had misinterpreted as hostile actions. Yuna's translation algorithm continued refining. Each quantum pulse contained emotional and intellectual information. They weren't just exchanging data, they were sharing experiences, understanding, and perspectives. The research center became a hub of unprecedented activity. Scientists from multiple species gathered, watching the human team's groundbreaking work. What had started as a small research project was now transforming interstellar understanding. Siok realized they were witnessing something historic. Humanity wasn't just participating in galactic affairs. They were reshaping how different civilizations could communicate and understand each other. The quantum signals continued their complex dance, pulsing, changing, revealing layers of communication that had remained hidden for millennia. Outside the research center, the world continued its normal routine. People went about their daily lives, unaware that a small team was fundamentally changing humanity's position in the universe. Military commanders started discussing potential peace negotiations. The quantum civilization was no longer seen as a threat. They were now a potential ally, a civilization waiting to be understood. Alien delegates who had previously dismissed humans now requested direct meetings. The human approach had done what no advanced technology could achieve. It had established peaceful first contact with a civilization everyone considered uncontactable. Siak and Yuna looked at each other. They knew they had changed everything. Not through violence, not through superior technology, but through patience, creativity, and a uniquely human ability to see beyond established scientific boundaries. The universe watched, waiting to see what would happen next. Humanity had just taken its first real step into a larger, more complex galactic community. The aftermath of the quantum communication breakthrough transformed everything humanity knew about interstellar relations. Una found herself appointed as the primary diplomatic liaison between Earth and the Galactic Council, a position no human had ever held before. Alien civilizations began studying human communication methods, what they once considered weakness. Emotional intelligence, adaptability, creative problem-solving now became the most sought-after skill set in the galaxy. Research centers across multiple planetary systems started developing training programs based on human cognitive approaches. Suck's quantum communication algorithm became the standard for interspecies dialogue. Military academies that previously dismissed human strategies now taught his methods as primary conflict resolution techniques. The irony wasn't lost on him. The species once considered the least developed was now teaching advanced civilizations how to communicate. The quantum civilization revealed its true nature. They weren't a hostile force, but a deeply misunderstood collective consciousness seeking connection. Years of misinterpreted communication had led to catastrophic conflicts that could have been avoided through simple understanding. Diplomatic missions changed dramatically. Where previous interactions involved complex technological negotiations, humans introduced emotional intelligence and collaborative problem-solving. Alien delegates found themselves learning empathy, a concept previously foreign to many advanced civilizations. Una traveled across multiple star systems, representing humanity's new diplomatic approach. Her presentation showed how understanding wasn't about technological superiority, but about genuine connection. Each meeting challenged existing galactic protocols. Research centers began integrating human psychological approaches with advanced technological systems. The combination produced unprecedented breakthroughs in communication, conflict resolution, and scientific understanding. Humanity's seemingly simple approach revealed complex solutions to long-standing galactic challenges. The Galactic Council restructured its entire communication framework. Human researchers were now invited to every major scientific and diplomatic conference. What was once a marginalized species became a critical component of interstellar cooperation. Siok continued developing more advanced communication algorithms. Each breakthrough challenged existing scientific understanding. Alien researchers who had previously ignored human contributions now competed to collaborate with human teams. Economic systems across multiple civilizations began changing. The human approach of collaborative problem-solving replaced competitive models that had existed for millennia. Trade agreements became more about mutual understanding than resource extraction. Educational systems across the galaxy started incorporating human learning techniques. Emotional intelligence became as important as mathematical precision. Alien children learned about human creativity, adaptability, and collaborative skills. The quantum civilization became a partner rather than a threat. Their complex energy-based existence found common ground with human communication methods. What was once seen as an impossible interaction became a model of peaceful coexistence. Military strategies transformed completely. Instead of focusing on destruction, advanced civilizations now prioritized understanding and communication. Human diplomatic approaches became the gold standard for conflict resolution. Una often reflected on their journey. From a small research center in the mountains to becoming the primary bridge between humanity and galactic civilizations, their work had changed everything. The seemingly weak species had become the most important communicators in the known universe. Scientific publications across multiple star systems began referencing human researchers. Conferences that once excluded human participants now featured them as keynote speakers. The paradigm had truly shifted. The research that started with two curious scientists had rewritten the rules of interstellar communication. Humanity was no longer seen as a young, underdeveloped species. They were viewed as the bridge between different forms of existence. Siok understood that their success wasn't about technological superiority. It was about seeing potential where others saw limitations. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt, to understand, to connect. As the sun set on another day of extraordinary discoveries, the universe seemed to pause. Something fundamental had changed. The smallest species had become the most important communicators in the galaxy. Humanity had arrived, not with weapons or advanced technology, but with understanding. The paradigm had shifted, and nothing would ever be the same again. The final resolution came quietly, without the massive battles everyone had expected. Siak and Yuna stood in the central chamber of the Galactic Council, surrounded by representatives from hundreds of civilizations. The quantum civilization's true nature had been revealed. What everyone initially perceived as a destructive force was actually a complex communication network seeking connection. Misunderstandings had driven centuries of conflict, and humanity had become the unexpected bridge. Cosmic energy swirled around the chamber. Alien delegates who once considered humans primitive now watched with deep respect. The human approach had done what millennia of advanced technology could not: create genuine understanding. Yuna's translation algorithm had become more than a scientific breakthrough. It was a universal language that connected different forms of existence. Each quantum pulse now carried meaning, emotion, and shared experience. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the final agreements were drafted. Humanity would lead the first comprehensive interdimensional communication initiative. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years now sat together, learning from human diplomatic techniques. Siak realized they had accomplished something extraordinary, not through force or advanced technology, but through patience, empathy, and a unique ability to see connections others missed. Humanity's perceived weaknesses had become their greatest strengths. Research centers across multiple star systems began implementing human communication models. Educational programs started teaching emotional intelligence alongside traditional scientific disciplines. The entire concept of interstellar interaction was being rewritten. The quantum civilization revealed its complex society. They weren't a single entity, but a collective consciousness existing between energy states. Previous civilizations had misunderstood their communication attempts as attacks, when they were actually desperate attempts to connect. Diplomatic missions became collaborative experiences, where previous interactions involved complex negotiations and technological exchanges. Humans introduced genuine understanding. Empathy became a valuable scientific and diplomatic skill. Siak received the Cosmic Breakthrough Medal, the highest honor in the galactic community. But he understood the real victory wasn't personal. It represented humanity's potential to transform understanding across different forms of existence. Military strategies transformed completely. Advanced civilizations now prioritized communication over conflict. The human approach of seeking understanding became the standard for resolving complex interstellar challenges. Yuna continued developing communication technologies that bridged different dimensional experiences. Her work showed that communication wasn't about technological superiority, but about genuine connection and mutual respect. The quantum civilization became an active partner in galactic affairs. Their complex energy-based existence found harmony with biological and technological civilizations. Humanity had become the unexpected translator of universal experiences. Scientific publications across multiple star systems celebrated human researchers. Conferences that once excluded human participants now featured them as primary contributors. The smallest species had become the most important communicators in the known universe. Economic systems changed. Collaborative models replaced competitive structures. Trade became about mutual understanding rather than resource extraction. Human approaches to problem-solving transformed multiple civilizations' economic philosophies. As the Galactic Council meeting concluded, something fundamental had shifted. Humanity was no longer viewed as a young, underdeveloped species. They were the bridge between different forms of existence, the unexpected heroes of a complex universal story. Siak looked at Yuna. Their journey from a small mountain research center to the center of galactic diplomacy seemed impossible. Yet here they were, having changed everything through understanding, patience, and an ability to see potential where others saw only limitations. The universe seemed to pause. Alien delegates looked at the human representatives with newfound respect. What began as a small research project had transformed interstellar communication forever. Humanity had arrived, not with weapons or advanced technology, but with the most powerful tool of all, genuine understanding. The quantum signals continued their complex dance, now a symphony of shared experience, connection, and hope. Everything had changed, and nothing would ever be the same again.